Hi everybody, welcome to My Big Tidy Up. My name is DeDe. Thanks for coming by my channel today. Now today on the menu here at My Big Tidy Up, it's finally time. I'm finally getting it to you. You have asked for the Q&A, and so today is the Q&A. I am sorry it's taken me this long, but you know, when people start asking me for a Q&A, I get like a request for a Q&A from this person or another person, and then they kind of start building and adding up. Well, when that happens, I like to kind of go ahead and put my feelers out and ask on all the medias if you have some questions that I can add to it. So I posted on the community page, the Instagram, Tidy Up Facebook. You guys email me. Well, have I got some questions for you guys? And you know what's crazy is sometimes on the other social medias like the Instagram, I get the most bizarre, crazy, fun questions, and I have got a slew of them for you today. Now, I'll be moving around my house. I've done a Q&A before, and I'm not one just to like, here we are, let's answer some questions, because that's kind of boring for me to watch, so I don't want it to be boring for you. So if you're new here, I'll be going to different rooms in my home, kind of like a little makeshift home tour as we do the Q&A. I appreciate you joining me today, so without any further ado, let's get personal and let's get tidy. Well, I've started off here in the kitchen, and what I'm going to try to do is coordinate your questions with the particular room I'm in. So if you have asked me a question about the kitchen or kitchen organizing or food, and FYI, spoiler alert, I got so many questions about food, then you know I'm getting ready to answer your question. But before I start, can I just show you guys something? Would you look at these beautiful farm fresh eggs? A friend of mine has chickens and she shared these with me. Are these not beautiful? I mean, who would have thought? But they almost look like art pieces. But you know, you can keep fresh, farm fresh eggs that have not been washed out on your counter for up to 2 weeks. And if they've not been washed and you've not got that protective coating off of them, you can keep them in your refrigerator for 4 months. Now, normally I buy my eggs from the store, but my friend was coming through and she dropped these off. Are these not gorgeous? Okay. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled program, and away we go with the kitchen questions. Now, I did write down everybody's questions on my note paper, so I'm going to read them off, and I'm going to read them just how you asked them. Question number 1, do you feel it's more efficient to do your dishes by hand or use your dishwasher, where you have to wait for the cycle to finish? Do you do your dishes by hand? I see your rolly rack a lot. Okay, so the rolly rack, what I think you're referring to is this little rack that I have, and I do use it for drying my dishes, but I do have it out a lot if I'm like prepping vegetables because it's so convenient. I can just leave it lay out, and since I have the stainless steel one, it kind of looks like it matches. It doesn't look like something that doesn't belong, so I do keep it out. But as far as us and our family, I really do most of the dishes by hand because it's quicker, but we just have 2 people. Now, when there was a whole house full of children and everybody had to have a different cup and get a bowl for this and a bowl for that, I probably did use the dishwasher more. So for us and our family, where there's just the 2 of us, except when we have guests, it's much quicker just to do the dishes by hand. But do what works for your family. Okay, I'm back. I had to turn the camera off because right when I was recording, everyone and their dog, all of my neighbors, started mowing at the same time. And the mowing I can handle, it's not that bad, but it's when everybody starts weed whipping, wee, and it makes that sound. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish answering these questions. There's kind of a lull, so if it starts back up, just bear with me. But these next 2 questions actually aren't about the kitchen, but it has to do with food. So I thought I'll just answer them in here. The next question is, what is your favorite type of food? Indian food, Mexican food, Italian food, etc. Well, without a doubt, it's Mexican food. I love Mexican food, and when you can combine Mexican food like with seafood, like a spicy shrimp taco or something like that, then that's really my jam, because I do love seafood, but Mexican food is definitely my favorite, and the spicier, the better. You know, I like it spicy enough that it's not like painful, but that it starts to make your nose run. That's when you know it's just perfect. But anyway, that's my answer to that. Definitely Mexican food. And here's a wacky one. And of course, this came from you crazy Instagrammers. What was your favorite school lunch? So, okay. Well, we had hot lunch served to us. And my favorite school lunch, and for all of you folks that watch me, that went to school with me, you can comment if I'm telling it wrong. But every Wednesday or on Wednesdays, it was chili and cinnamon roll day. And you looked forward to that. Now, I'm gonna tell you something, and you people in the Midwest, you're gonna be like, yeah, that's how you do it. And some of you that live other places of the country are gonna be like, that is insane. But you have to have chili and a cinnamon roll together. So even as an adult, if I make chili for my family, I've got to have a little sweet roll or something to go with it, because you take your cinnamon roll and you unroll the dry part, you know, the outside part, and you dip it in your chili so you get the perfect combination of salty and sweet. It's savory and sweet, and it's just a beautiful little marriage right there in your mouth. Now, my daughter and I were just talking about this, and she lives in Oklahoma, and some of the people down there have never heard of such a thing, and they think it's crazy. So that was my favorite school lunch. It happened on Wednesdays, chili and cinnamon roll day. Oh, and one last thing, you never dipped the center. You ate the round and where it was drier, that you dipped in your chili, but the center, that you saved, and that was just one bite in your mouth at the end. So anyway, that's the questions about food. Let's move to the next room. Well, I've headed downstairs here to the basement, and I know this Q&A and little mini home tour is quite random. It's all over the place, but the mowing is ramping up upstairs. So I thought I'll just come down here and answer some questions that have to do with this room or things that happen in this room. Okay, questions about this room. Or kind of sort of about this room. Question number 1 is 2 parts. Number 1, what is or was your favorite makeover you've done? Your upstairs guest room, your own bedroom, your living room, your den, your basement bathroom, or your basement family room? And would you do anything differently? Okay, first of all, until I read that question, I didn't even realize we had done that many makeovers, that we had made that many changes, but I love all of the changes. It really has made this home more personalized, and it feels like our place. But as far as my favorite, I would say my favorite thing I made over would have to be the den fireplace. I love the paint. I think the gray looks just beautiful up against the walls. I love how the tile coordinates. I think when you walk in that room, that's what you notice. It's a real showstopper. But as far as like the whole room all together, you know, I love how the guest room turned out. I love our bedroom, a little private getaway and sanctuary. But those are just like for a guest or for us. It's the family room behind me because we all get to enjoy it. This is where we congregate. This is where our grandchildren play when they come over. This is where we have family functions and holidays, where we watch movies. So I would have to say this room by far is my favorite makeover because it's just so comfortable and everybody gets to enjoy it. Now, as far as would I do anything differently? I like the results. I don't know that I would change. You know, I would probably think things through a little bit more because sometimes I go in there, you know, like with my hair on fire, ready to tackle something. The bathroom took me longer than I thought it was going to take me. Sanding those cabinets, that was hard work. And sometimes you just have to ask for help because I couldn't hang the cabinets. And so my husband came to the rescue. So I would probably just think things a little bit through, a little bit more, give myself a little bit more grace and time to do a project and not think it's got to be done all at one time. But no, I'm very happy with it. Now, I said that we enjoy watching movies down here. That leads me to another question. And the question is, what movie can you quote by heart? Well, I have a lot of movies that I can quote by heart. And it's probably annoying to watch those movies with me. I can quote Steel Magnolias by heart, Pretty Woman by heart, Princess Bride by heart, and National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Why is the carpet all wet, Todd? I don't know, Margot. If you know what I'm talking about, you're my people. But I would say those movies, there's probably a lot. My children all have the Christmas Vacation memorized, so we're pretty annoying if you want to watch that movie with us. But I would say those movies are some that I definitely can quote by heart. And something else, it's not about movies, but the question is, what is the last show you binge watched? So the last show that my husband and I binge watched is called Night Agent on Netflix. If you have not seen it, it is a good one. Lots of kind of political intrigue, lots of characters, great acting, really great acting, and lots of twists and turns where you think it's going to end a certain way. And so we got really excited. We had one of our children that had seen it, and boy, he was on board. And then we're like, you got to watch it. You got to watch it. And you know, they probably don't always want recommendations from mom and dad, you know, because they probably don't think we watch cool stuff, but they all got on board too. So that's the latest one that we've watched, Night Agent on Netflix. That was a binge watch. So I think that's all for this area. So let's head to the next place. Well, now I'm coming to you from the home office, and this is a shared space. My husband takes one side of this office, I use the other side, and this really over here is kind of the headquarters for My Big Tidy Up. It's a little bit more pink on this side, if you can tell. But I thought I'm going to answer questions that have to do with My Big Tidy Up, and then I do have a question regarding office supplies that I'm going to answer in here. But the first question is, and I will tell you, this question makes me nervous even just reading it. The question is, would you ever consider doing a live? I would have to say right now, probably not. I would never say never. And I think that's wonderful, people that go live. I have a creator friend, Colleen Sews and Chats. She has a nice little channel and she does a live every Monday morning. That would make me so nervous because I have this situation, this problem. It's called foot and mouth disease, and that's what I have. And I am afraid that I would put my foot in my mouth and I wouldn't be able to edit it, or I would say something that maybe would be misinterpreted, or I'd stumble over my words. So it's probably not the route I'm going to go with my channel, but I would never say never. So maybe one day I'll just be crazy and do it, or if I can get someone to collab and do a live collaboration with me, maybe I would. But for right now, it's probably not the route I'm going with my channel because of, you know, that foot and mouth problem. The next question is, what is your favorite part of being a creator? Recording, editing, videoing, music, thumbnails, etc. I would have to say my favorite part about being a creator is the coming up with the theme for the video. I like having a theme, even if I'm like having a little gathering or something, I like to have a theme. So I'm probably never just gonna come on and do video cleaning today. I want it to have a theme or a purpose or be specialized, like deep cleaning or speed cleaning or nighttime cleaning or dirty jobs that we don't want to do often, or things that we should clean more often, or decluttering a small space, decluttering places you don't want to declutter. So I really like the creative part of coming up of the idea each week for some specialized video and not just here's cleaning, here's decluttering. So probably that part of it I enjoy the most. And then the last question for the office, for those without a Cricut, can you recommend a label maker? Well, I have this label maker, and it is a good one, this Dymo label maker, but what it does, it makes the little strip labels. Now, if you are looking for something, if you don't have a Cricut, I myself don't have this, but I do have a good friend that has a label maker, and it actually looks like a Cricut label because they are square labels, and it just prints out and the tape comes out, and you can make it look like a Cricut label. It is Mark's Life, and what I will do is I will link the label maker that my friend has in the description below. So it is really not my recommendation, but I have seen labels that this label maker makes. It's under $50, it's small, it's compact, and it just prints out labels. And so I love my label maker. So if you're looking for one that just has the thin strip, but if you're looking for one that will give you that Cricut look without that Cricut price, the one that I'm going to put in the description, that's the way to go. And I can link this one too, just in case this is something you're looking for. So that's it for the office. So let's travel on. Well, I'm now up in the primary bedroom, and the next few questions have to do with things you might see in this room or problem areas in this room. And if you've been with me a while, you probably already know where my problem areas are. And also, if you've been with me a while, you might notice my lamps are gone. I've taken them downstairs to the living room by the front door, so I'll be looking for some lamps in the future. Next questions. Now, when I came into this room, you probably noticed I zoomed my camera in on the little silver "I love you" sign over here by the television. The reason I did that, I did have a question regarding sign language. The question is, do you still do sign language even though you are officially retired? Do you still interpret? I do still interpret if I'm called upon, if the courts call, or if there's a service or a meeting that they need an interpreter, and if I'm free, I definitely do that. And I also have a couple of young women that do sign language. They do it as performances in their church or community events or competitions, and sometimes I will help them. They definitely know what they're doing, and they're very gifted young ladies, but I will watch them, kind of give suggestions, give them some feedback. So I'm still very involved, and I know in my heart I always will be. So that's why I asked that question up in this room. Now, on to some other questions that have to do with this room. The next question is, what for you are the hardest areas to keep decluttered and clean? And they're both upstairs here, but they're not the same place. So I'm just going to grab the camera and I'm going to show you, but if you've been with me, you know my nemesis in this room. Well, here's the answer to the declutter question. This is the area that's hardest for me to keep decluttered. It is the primary closet. And it really isn't so much my husband's side, it's my side. And truth be known, look, I'm kind of crowding in on his side as well. So this is a work in progress, and it's not perfection, but I can say it's progress. So always remember, I say it all the time, but it's true. We're going for progress, not perfection. And that's a good thing because perfection isn't happening. So here's my declutter area. And here in the primary bath, this is the area hardest for me to keep clean, is my tub, because even though I can use different tools that don't cause me to have to lean over quite as much, it's still a big area. It still has dirt because our bodies have dirt, and it's still got to be cleaned often. So definitely my problem area to keep decluttered is my primary closet, and my area that's hard to keep clean is my primary tub. Now, before I leave this area, I do want to circle back and answer another decluttering question that I received. And the question is, how do you declutter when you feel overwhelmed and don't know where to start? That's a great question. And the case of the overwhelms can be very overwhelming, and it can stop you from doing anything. So one thing you can do is just section your decluttering off. Now, if I come into this closet and I know I've got to declutter everything from top to bottom, it can definitely be overwhelming. So you can just take a 1-by-1 area, or just take a small section and say, I'm going to go through these shirts and then I'm calling it a day. Or you can set a timer. A timer works very well because the goal of the time method is just to declutter. Set it for 5 minutes or 10 minutes. That way, the goal isn't to get rid of everything, so you're not going to fail. All you're going to do is work on it for 5 minutes. So that's a suggestion that you definitely can do, is just take a few minutes. Don't worry about getting it all. Just take little bites and you'll eventually get there. Well, now I'm here in the guest room upstairs, and the reason I picked this room is because the only people that ever stay up in this room are either my friends or my family. And that's what your next questions were all about, were my friends and my family. So question number 1, what is your longest running friendship? Well, we did some calculations and we discovered it's 45 years. And I just got to see her the other day. She came through my town, and it was so nice to see her again in person, other than just texting or things like that. And I would tell you how old we were when we met, but then y'all do the math, and she and I probably ought to just keep that number between us. But it's 45 years, and I wouldn't trade her for anything. She's awesome. And the next question, do you have a big circle of friends? And this is kind of a tricky question because you can never have too many friends, never have too much joy to go around. But I will tell you, as I get older, my circle gets a little bit smaller. I like my circle that way. You know, it's almost like when you're younger, it's the same thing with my home. I wanted this in my home. More is more, and you want to just, that's what you strive for, is to get more. But as you get older, you want just the smaller, the more precious things. You would rather have fewer things that were precious and that meant something. And that's how it is with the decor in my home. That's how it is with my circle of friends. I love them all, but it is a tighter circle, and I am totally okay with that because I want to enjoy those special, precious relationships. Not mass produced, but those special, precious relationships. So yes, I have a big circle of friends, but as I get older, it's a pretty tight circle, and I'm totally okay with that. And the next question is, do you have any brothers or sisters? If so, what birth order are you? Well, I do not have any brothers or sisters, so the second part of that question, I guess I'm the oldest, the youngest, and in between. Now, do I wish that I would have had some siblings and I could have enjoyed that? Yes, I admit it. I probably would have liked to have some siblings, but you know, as I got older, I had close and do have close relationships that I imagine are like having a sister. That's what it feels like, except I didn't have to go through the drama or, you know, them be in my room or me be in their room or have to share anything. So I do have adult women sisters that I would consider like sister relationships, but no, I'm an only child. They broke the mold with me. And on that note, let's head to our last place. Well, I've come into the den for the final question, and really the den doesn't have anything to do with the question. I just wanted to show you the fireplace in case you hadn't seen it. When I was talking earlier about the one thing that we've made over that we're most proud of, that it was this fireplace, I just thought maybe if you were new here, you hadn't had a chance to see it. I didn't want you to have to go dig through old videos to try to find it, but that's the fireplace I was talking about, so that's why I picked here. Now, on to the final question. And the thing with this last question is, it was kind of placed in the middle of some other questions. Some were professional about my big tidy up, some were more personal. So I'm not sure the spirit that this question was asked. Is it a professional question or a personal question? So I'm just going to answer it both ways and cover all of our bases. The question is, when are you most fulfilled? Now, when it comes to my big tidy up, when I am most fulfilled is when the video has been recorded, edited, music done, the tags, the title, the description, thumbnail, it's all done and it's all been uploaded and it's scheduled and it's just waiting in YouTube land, ready to come out Friday at 5 o'clock Central Standard Time. And it's just waiting there. And I put my heart and soul in it. I've tried hard, and it's like a present. And it's just waiting to go out to you guys, and you get to open it, and I'm hoping you like it. And so that's when I'm most fulfilled. It's like waiting to see if you can find something to connect with, if it will help you learn something or give you a laugh for the day. And so it's like I'm waiting for you to get the gift. So that's when I'm most fulfilled when it comes to my big tidy up. Now, personally, when I'm most fulfilled, it isn't really about accomplishments or activities or things like that. It's when I'm around those I love. When you get to have friends that are like family and family that are like friends, and it all comes together, that's when it's perfect. So yes, I love having a clean house. Yes, I love having a project accomplished. But my true fulfillment is when I'm around those that love me and that I love back. So that's the answer to that question. And you guys, I want to thank you so much for watching my Q&A today. I know sometimes Q&As can be boring. I've tried to jazz it up for you, and I hope you learned something about me. I really appreciate you watching. Thank you for supporting me. Please take care of yourself. And as always, until I see you next time, stay tidy.